So hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. Now today is another subscriber Sunday and we've got Grace back again. Do you remember Grace from a few weeks ago? I'll put a link to her video underneath, and she contacted me initially because she had a problem with her thumb slipping through the bow. She had a problem with her bow grip. If you go and watch that video, you can familiarise yourself with her issue and how I helped resolve that. But the reason why this has all come about with a second video from Grace is that she had then contacted me to ask me to help her a little bit further, as in she wanted me to comment on her general style of playing and everything. And she said to me that she'd been playing, I think off the top of my head, for about 2 years or so. She was mostly self-taught. She had had some private tutoring with a personal teacher at one point, but she was mostly self-taught. So she had asked me to just to give her a little bit more information on how I thought she was going and that kind of thing. And I said to her that the clip was so short of her playing, it was literally, you know, two or 3 seconds long, that I couldn't possibly make a comment because I just really had nothing to base it on. So she decided to do me a little bit more of a video, and I thought I would feature that again on my channel to help give her a few pointers and for you guys to see if you can learn anything from it too. So Grace is playing a piece called Swallowtail Jig. It's an Irish jig. I'll put the link to the sheet music. This is just something I just got from the internet. I'll link it underneath if you want to play it. So let's watch Grace's video and then we'll come back and have a chat about it.
Swallowtail Jig, an Irish song. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe at Southern Grace.
The first thing I noticed with Grace is that she's running away with herself with the jig. Irish jigs are they're technically easy to play, but they're very easy to have them run away with you. So you can very easily get out of control with these, and your fingers can be going around all over the place and getting all kinds of muddles and messes. Now, although Grace has got this down pat and it's absolutely fine, she's memorised it by the looks of it, she's played it again and again. It's a very simple melody, it's a very simple repetitive melody. That isn't a problem. Technically, I feel like the whole thing is just running away with itself. And this is kind of at the point where potentially I need to be careful what I'm about to say, because I'm a classically trained violinist, so I play and teach and I have learnt the classical way. Grace is potentially, I'm not really sure because I'm not really too sure on Grace's background and what it is she likes and what she doesn't like, but I feel potentially she could be more of a fiddle player. So this is where I probably need to just be a little bit careful with what I say, because I appreciate you've got classical violinists and then you've got fiddle players, and the two, even though they are pretty well the same, the styles are different. And I know a lot of you guys watching my videos are fiddle players or like a lot of fiddle music, so I don't want to come across as, you know, I'm putting my classical kind of thoughts and feelings on what a fiddle player is doing and describing what a fiddle player is doing as wrong, because that's not quite the case. So I'm going to make the assumption that Grace is more classical, or if Grace wanted to be more classical, these are the hints and tips and pointers that I think she should work on if she wants to go that way. If she's a fiddle player, then maybe some of this isn't quite so relevant, but basic technique is always relevant with whatever instrument you're playing and whatever style you're playing, whether it is classical, fiddle music, or you're playing jazz. You've still got to have your basic fundamentals correct. So I think this whole piece kind of runs away with her, and I think she would benefit from playing with something with like a metronome, or playing along with a metronome. So what I would recommend is that she starts the metronome off really slow to start with, and I'm only saying that she needs to start slow because even though you can play something really fast and you can play it sort of reasonably well really fast, I'm not saying she can't play it well. I'm just saying that the whole thing is just running out of time. Some of her notes aren't as crystal clear as they could be. I think if she didn't run away with the time, I think if she picked a metronome speed of whatever speed that is and stuck with it the whole way through, then her notes would be clearer and her rhythm would be a lot more succinct and a lot clearer. And I think the whole thing would go from being, you know, a pretty decent performance to a really, really good performance. And I know a lot of you guys watching Grace's video will probably think that what she's done is very good. And absolutely, of course, it is very, very good, but we can always make it better. And from a teacher's point of view, from my point of view, I do feel that there are some things that she can do that can make this sound even better. And not only just for this piece, but going forward as well. It's the difference between kind of average sort of sloppy violin playing to really, really good, well thought out, meticulous, real disciplined violin playing, and that makes so much difference to the ear. And I think what would be really nice actually is, and I might see if I can get her to do this, is to her to watch this video, make the changes that I'm suggesting, and then come back again with another video just so we can maybe compare them side by side and see what the difference is, see if I've helped her, you know, see if that's kind of improved her general technique. So I think she should have a metronome, and I've got my metronome set to about 108. Let's just say, for example, so that's probably going to actually seem really, really slow. So I realise that that is probably going to be quite slow for Grace, and she probably isn't going to like that. But the reason that you slow it down so much is to gain the extra discipline. I think when you have things so fast, you really lose focus on the notes and what's important and what's not important. If you just draw it back a little bit, you really do have time to look at the music and see what to accentuate and what not to accentuate, and to really kind of pull back and feel what's going on in the music a little bit more and put some colour into it. She's kind of got to the point where she's playing it so fast now, look at me, I can do it, you know, no problems. And it's kind of running away with itself. So if she pulled it back quite a bit and did quite a bit of practice, some slow practice, she'd probably find everything would just be a lot more disciplined, because she's got to that point where she can play it so well by bringing it back. I know this sounds a bit of a contradiction in terms, but by bringing the whole thing back, she can really focus on disciplining her fingers and her notes, and the whole thing would be a lot clearer. So what I would suggest is that she practices quite a bit at that kind of speed. And I know it's slow, but we're not doing it for the speed purpose, we're doing it for the discipline purpose. And then I would probably increase that to maybe something like 120. And so on. And then I would increase that maybe to about another 130, something like that. Let's just go at 130. And then maybe that's perhaps closer to the speed that she's playing it, or the speed she should be playing it. I think she might just be playing it a fraction faster than that. But I mean, you know, if jigs are too fast, then they're just going to be a mess anyway. You're not going to be able to hear them. So you may be able to get away with playing it maybe just a fraction faster. Let's see what... So this jumps up to 144. That might be a little bit too fast. So no, actually I think 144 is fine. Going up any faster than that is probably just gonna be too fast for the actual jig itself. So she needs to probably start at about 100, 110, move it up to 120, then around about 130, and then she can maybe go to 144, and not just play it once or twice at 100, once or twice at 110. You know, really focus on some quality practicing. It might even be, you know, you're spending a whole week just playing it at 110. And remember, it's not that I'm saying it's too fast, you need to slow it down. You need to listen to what's not being played in the music. It's the silences, it's the notes in between the notes that you're listening to. Do you see what I mean? So it's more of the understanding of the music than actually taking it down to speed, because I know that anybody watching this would think, or Grace would even herself probably think, but I can play it fast. If I can play it fast, I can play it slow. But that's not the point. You're working on discipline, and the more you do that, the more disciplined your fingers are going to be at going precisely on the beat, which is what she isn't doing at the moment and what she needs to work on. So that really kills several birds with one stone, really. The whole getting the rhythm to be a lot cleaner and clearer, and also just her notes. So because her fingers are getting slightly muddled, the notes are getting slightly slurred up a little bit because of that. I think if she really works on that speed, picks speed, does a lot of metronome work as well, the whole thing will sound a lot more succinct, and a lot more like a jig, and a lot more like an authentic jig, rather than kind of the whole thing running away as it is right now. Her intonation is really good. I haven't got anything to say about that. I'm not sure what was happening with the bow. Hopefully she's okay with that, but I addressed that on the other video. And the last thing that I did notice a little peak of that I wasn't too pleased with was the vibrato at the end. She was doing a little bit of finger vibrato. So again, this is probably where I need to be a little bit careful. That might be something that fiddle players do a little bit more of, and that's fine. If you're a fiddle player, then you know this next comment isn't going to be for you, and if that's what Grace wants, then that's fine. If Grace wants to do vibrato in a more of a classical way, then she's going to need to learn to move her wrist, or maybe she does arm vibrato. I don't do arm vibrato. I do wrist vibrato because my thumb is a lot. I hold the neck with more of my thumb, more the pad of my thumb. So I did notice that she was finishing. She was doing more of a finger vibrato, which isn't really very good vibrato at all. I'm not going to go into how to do vibrato in this video. I've got 3 or 4 videos already on my my channel on exactly how to do vibrato, but I just thought I wanted to bring that up and mention it, because once you get too far down the line of doing finger vibrato, it's very, very difficult to get out of doing finger vibrato. And finger vibrato again might be okay if you want to do more fiddle music, but if you actually want to play anything other than fiddle music and do that really nice, beautiful sounding vibrato that you always hear everywhere, then you need to learn to do that properly. And you'll never get that with finger vibrato, because there's always something very off or warbly about finger vibrato that you can't manipulate in any way. So there we go. I hope you, Grace, have found this helpful, and anybody else watching this as well, of course, as usual. If you have a problem, violin or piano, that you want me to help you with, send in a video and I'll see if I can feature it on my channel here. I'll put details underneath this video on how you can do that. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Grace, for your video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.